Richest 62 people as wealthy as half of world's population, says Oxfam. The vast and growing gap between rich and poor has been laid bare in a new Oxfam report showing that the 62 richest billionaires own as much wealth as the poorer half of the world's population. Oxfam said that the wealth of the poorest 50% dropped by 41% between 2010 and 2015, despite an increase in the global population of 400 million. In the same period, the wealth of the richest 62 people increased by $500 billion to $1.76 trillion. The charity said that, in 2010, the 388 richest people owned the same wealth as the poorest 50%. This dropped to 80 in 2014 before falling again in 2015. Mark Goldring, the Oxfam GB chief executive, said, "It is simply unacceptable that the poorest half of the world population owns no more than a small group of the global super-rich, so few, you could fit them all on a single coach." World leaders' concern about the escalating inequality crisis has so far not translated into concrete action to ensure that those at the bottom get their fair share of economic growth. In a world where 1 in 9 people go to bed hungry every night, we cannot afford to carry on giving the richest an ever bigger slice of the cake. Oxfam said a three-pronged approach was needed: a crackdown on tax dodging, higher investment in public services, and higher wages for the low-paid. 3 years ago, David Cameron told the WEF that the UK would spearhead a global effort to end aggressive tax avoidance in the UK and in poor countries. But Oxfam said promised measures to increase transparency in British overseas territories and Crown dependencies, such as the Cayman Islands and British Virgin Islands, had not been implemented. Goldring said, "We need to end the era of tax havens which has allowed rich individuals and multinational companies to avoid their responsibilities to society by hiding ever-increasing amounts of money offshore." Tackling the veil of secrecy surrounding the UK's network of tax havens would be a big step towards ending extreme inequality. 3 years after he made his promise to make tax dodgers wake up and smell the coffee, it is time for David Cameron to deliver. Oxfam cited estimates that rich individuals have placed a total of $7.60 in offshore accounts, adding that if tax were paid on the income that this wealth generates, an extra $190 billion would be available to governments every year. The estimated loss of $14 billion in tax revenues would be enough to pay for health care for mothers and children that could save 4 million children's lives a year and employ enough teachers to get every African child into school. Oxfam said it intended to challenge the executives of multinational corporations in Davos on their tax policies. Corporate investment in tax havens almost quadrupled between 2000 and 2014.